I don't know if I should be telling you this, but your cigarette isn't lit.
Oh, right, yeah, no, and it's half broken. Yeah.
Is it meant to be? Are you trying to give up?
Well, no, it's just that, well, it broke, and so I broke it off and turned it around, stuck it in the other way, so it works still. But I've got a new packet, so I'm
You're
laughing.
all right.
Yeah, laughing.
Do you like smoking?
I love it.
Do you?
I can't give it up.
You don't want to give it up?
No, I don't want to give it up, you know. I enjoy smoking cigarettes, and...
Gives you a buzz?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't drink beer, and... You know...
You don't drink anything, or you don't drink beer?
No, I don't really drink anything. I used to drink a lot.
Yeah.
You know, wound up in a lot of trouble, you know.
Did you?
Oh, jail, the whole thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Like from drink?
Yeah.
What did you used to do?
Oh, you know, crash cars.
God. Did you hurt yourself?
No, I was pretty lucky. You know, actually, written off about 3. And, you know, just on dirt roads out in the country. And, you know, no one involved, no other cars involved.
Yeah.
And, you know, so very lucky to be alive, you know,
So,
rolling them over cliffs and all sorts of horrible things.
Yeah, and eventually you realised that they were connected.
Well, you know, I think, well, you know, I met a good girl, and you know, we had a son, and you just got to quit doing that sort of stuff. Yeah,
that was the motivation.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
What's your name?
Greg.
Greg.
Yeah. Yeah. It carried on for a little while, but you got to give it up, mate. You know, I mean, I only really ever drank to get drunk anyway. So, you know, it wasn't that hard to do.
It wasn't a disease.
No, it wasn't really a disease. You know, I only ever drank to get drunk, really. And, oh, geez, I used to get drunk.
You said you met a good girl.
Yeah, I met a good girl.
About it. What's her name?
Kanina.
Where and how?
Well, I met her in Tasmania, and...
Doing what?
Well, I was just standing outside the doll office, actually, and she was just walking past, and just caught my eye, and I started talking.
Well, you just stopped her in the street?
Well, I'd seen her before in the pub, and and I just sort of said g'day, and she stopped and had a chat, and it just went on from there. Yeah, we sort of clicked, and we've been together, I suppose, 8 years now, and which is, you know, the longest relationship I've ever had. And
did you get married, or?
No, we're not married. But
you have a son or a daughter?
We have a son. He said to me just yesterday, he said, Dad, when you were crazy, he said, I don't know, it was like you were a monster. And he's only 5, you know. He said it was like you were a monster. And I, you know, said when you used to get drunk. And I said, yeah, well, you know, luckily I don't anymore, and that's good, isn't it? He said, oh yeah, that's good, yeah, because you know, he has seen me drunk, you know, and you know, it must have been frightening to the little fella, you know, getting angry and throwing plates around and stuff like that. You know, I couldn't imagine anything worse. So, you know, I mean, my father never drank, and you know, in fact, I grew up in the Salvation Army. So,
did you?
Yeah, my parents were officers, and you know, so it's a totally different upbringing.
So when did you start drinking? When did that begin?
Well, I suppose when I was about 13, you know, I came home drunk, and I got the almighty biggest belting you've ever wanted in your life, you know. And so, yeah, I started at about 13. There's a saying that, ministers' sons are the worst.
Yeah, and you've set out to prove it.
It must be true, because I've known a couple of ministers' sons. Yeah. I mean, Dad left the Salvation Army and joined the Baptists and became a Baptist minister, and I've known a couple of ministers' sons, and they're just shockers.
And he would have been pretty displeased with you.
Look, he was. He was pretty displeased, you know. You know, I think I did my first jail stint at 17, and he sent a couple of Salvation Army officers into the prison. Embarrassing. And you know, we had a word of prayer at muster. Oh God. But look, he was pretty disappointed.
Did that sort of foul up the relationship?
It did for a long time. You know, yeah, it did. You know, he would say things like, you know, I would rather you weren't in the state of Western Australia. That's where he lives, you know, and you know, I just had to live with that, because you know, it's the type of guy I was, really. But but look,
what about your mum?
Well, she's still alive, and she's lovely. You know, I guess now that my dad's dead, you know, you can look back and see. Well, it was a pretty strict life, really. Yeah. You know,
did you ever reconcile with him before he died?
Yeah, I did see him before he died, and yeah, I guess I did, really. Yeah, you know, yeah.
So you feel reasonable about that?
Well, he came over to see me, and you know, they came over from Perth, and he jumped in the car and hunted out where I was, and then came to see me, and you know, we had a bit of a talk. And then he went back to Perth, and I rang him up, and he said, look, Greg, make sure you ring me, again, And he'd never sort of really said that before, And I thought, I got off the phone, I thought, gee, that was strange. He said, look, make sure you do ring me again. And I didn't end up ringing him again, and he died. He had a massive heart attack.
How soon after that?
About a couple of months. I didn't.
Fairly soon.
Yeah, I didn't ring up, and he died. So, I guess I should have rang him, and yeah.
Is she your mum a lot?
Yeah, I see her a fair bit. Once every couple of weeks.
And that you're not drinking anymore?
No.
Was that a big thing for her?
Well, look, I went to the funeral.
Yeah.
And I got blind. It's the first time I've drunk in about, I don't know, ages and ages, and I got drunk. And I got drunk as anything, and of course my sister is absolutely frightened of me when I'm drunk, so she ran up the street, and so I was on the first plane home, and so I guess I had to say sorry about that for Mum, to Mum, and we've made up. She understands that I had a lot of problems, and there are reasons why we drink, and I guess, and but look, I've gotten to know Mum a lot better, and she understands now, that there were things that happened to me in my life, at school, with various teachers that shouldn't have happened, there was a couple of teachers that, there was a teacher that, he was a bit of a molester, I suppose, and, got to me when I was young, and so I had to live through that.
And you didn't tell anybody?
No, I didn't tell anybody. And, I guess that's why I really was angry, and I took it out in, any way I could,
Did it go on for a long time?
A couple of years, yeah.
That's long.
Yeah, that's long.
Yeah.
Looking back, it was horrible.
And you couldn't do anything about it?
Well, not really, because, I was being threatened, and, being threatened, and, he was he was a headmaster, for heaven's sakes. He was all authority to me.
Yes, And how old were you then?
About 11.
Yeah. So 13 you started drinking then, and that didn't help either.
No, that didn't help at all, really. And
have you ever told anybody?
Well, I told Mum.
Yeah.
In fact, just in the last 12 or so months, I've sat Mum down and told her, look, this is what happened.
Yeah.
So,
what was her reaction?
Can you understand? She cried and said she was sorry, that she didn't understand. She just didn't know. She didn't understand.
But maybe now that you've done that, maybe there is a brighter, more positive. You've dealt with it.
Oh yeah, I've dealt with it. I'm a lot happier that Mum knows, and look. It's out of my system now. I don't have to go around being angry anymore.
Can we look at your work of art?
I was just going to be in the background drawing you as you were interviewing.
Look. That's you, Greg. Look.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
What's your name?
Paula.
Paula. My name's Andrew. What happens with? What's the end result of these sketches?
Well, hopefully a painting, an oil painting or something.
Use this as a starting point.
Well, I paint about people and effects of people and all that sort of thing. So hopefully, the more I'm around people and the more I look at people, then different things come out of the paintings. So different subjects and people in the street and that sort of thing.
How did you begin? How did you get into it? How did you start?
I still am. I'm a part-time graphic designer. I did graphic design, and I was full-time, but I couldn't stand it anymore. It's very corporate and me, and money, basically. And so I just sort of quit and went part-time, and now I just sort of paint and get back to what it's really about, you know, rather than money and that sort of thing.
And what happens to the paintings?
They sit in my studio and I ponder over them for a few months, and then hopefully eventually they'll end up in an exhibition. I've been in one joint exhibition, but that's all at this stage. So.
Do you have an objective, an ambition?
Yes.
Just want to paint?
No. Well, I'm actually I'm a bit more for the message than I am for the actual painting. I just
How do you mean that?
well, I really like people. I really take note of people and how things affect people. And a lot of people run around in their own lives and don't think about how they might be affecting the next person or leaving the next person completely crushed or something like that. So I just try to paint about those sorts of things, and then hopefully people will come along and think, oh, I know that feeling, or oh, maybe I've done that, or just think about what they're doing.
How does this relate to you sketching us?
Well, you're a show on people and how people work and all that sort of thing. And I thought, well, I just rushed down to do it, and I thought, well, you never know, something might come out of it.
I
something
see.
might not.
Right. So
I tend to see the dark side, unfortunately, which I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to get more happy and, you know, that sort of thing. But
does that have anything to do with your personality, or is it?
I think probably basically I'm painting a lot about my own insecurities, and I was always a very sensitive little child and crushed quite easily. So
Did people crush you often? I mean, without meaning
not anymore.
to. They don't.
No, now I'm not anymore really. But
Because you don't let them. You
yeah,
don't allow it to happen.
no, I've got a bit more of a tough skin. But when I was younger, it would be nothing. It would be a passing comment, and I'd remember it, and I'd still remember it to this day. You know, just little things like that. So I just try to paint about, you know, those sorts of things.
That'd be very difficult in a relationship if you were so sensitive.
Well, luckily my partner's a musician, and he's even more sensitive than I am. So we're very nice to each other all the time.
And how did you meet?
In a bar, I think, and we went to see his band afterwards, and we just sort of got to know the band quite well, and then got together. I was a little bit scared at first, actually, because he's completely honest and over the top, and when he really likes something, he'll say, I really, you know, and he sort of say, I really like you. Oh God. But it was mostly music, actually, because I love music.
Yes.
And we sort of went back to his place and played some music, and both had all the same favourite songs. And that sort of got us talking, and we just realised that even to this day we talk and talk and talk. And
do you remember the first time he kissed you?
Yes, of course I do.
You do?
Yes.
How did it happen?
That was at the bar that we were at. He asked me if he could, and I said, yeah, that's
As soon as he
right.
met you?
No, we'd sort of met each other a few times, and that was that night.
And he asked, can I kiss you?
And he said, yeah. And I said, fine.
Did you ask him if you can kiss him back?
I didn't have to. He was quite happy for me to.
He was?
Yes.
What?
My name's Andrew. What's yours?
Patrick.
Patrick?
Yeah.
That's a good Irish
name, yeah.
Yeah. You Irish?
Well, we have a bit of Irish in us, but
Yes.
yeah.
Do you live around here in Parramatta?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do?
I'm an instrument technician,
Instrument technician. What kind of instruments?
process control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very specialised job.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't do it. So
Yeah.
why are you, have you got time off? Is it a,
Yeah, I've got 7 days off, yeah.
what do you do with 7 days off? You need to relax?
I just went and took my children, took the school kids for a outing at
Whereabouts?
the Powerhouse Museum.
Uh-huh.
I just come back from there, so I'm waiting
Yes.
for them to come back and I take them home.
How many
Yeah.
children?
2.
How old are they?
10 and 16.
How long have you been here?
9 years,
From,
from 1988.
no, but from where?
I came from the Middle East. I was born in India, but spent my life in the Middle East and then come here.
Also
Yeah.
in the same line of work?
Yes, I used to work in the oil fields there, so
Yeah.
come here.
Was that interesting?
Yeah, lots of money.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you save any?
So, I spent a lot
On what?
on traveling,
Ah,
going
right.
back to the UK.
Yeah. And so where were you born exactly?
I was born in Bombay. My wife was born in Africa. We met in the Middle East. We come here.
Right.
Yeah.
And your wife was born in Africa,
In Nairobi. Yeah.
but is she
She's
Indian?
She's of Indian origin, but born of Portuguese parents. They're Portuguese citizens, so it's a bit of a mix everywhere.
In that context, here in Australia, people talk about this being a pretty cosmopolitan place.
Yeah.
Do you fit in? Do you feel that you fit
Oh,
in?
I feel at home here.
Yeah?
No worries at all. Yeah, feel at home.
Why is that?
That's because it's the same culture. I was born in this sort of a Western culture.
Yeah.
We only speak English at home, so yeah, I fit in. I think I fit in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I fit in, maybe I don't, but I think I fit in.
You think you fit? Well, that's the
Yeah.
important thing.
Yeah.
Was there a particular reason that brought you here?
Well, it's more for the political stability here, because this place is relatively safe for children, whereas in the Middle East there's a lot of uncertainty as far as the job goes. I mean, I had a good job, but
Yes.
they could turn around and tell me, that's it, see you later. So that's the reason why I came here.
And what would you like to do? What do you aspire to? Where are you headed, Patrick?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose I'm headed in the general flow. Yeah, just the way things happen.
Right.
That's the way
You're a fatalist?
No, I'm an optimist.
You're not optimist.
Yeah, I'm not a fatalist, no.
You think things will happen for the good?
Maybe for us, for my generation here, but I fear for the next generation. I fear that they have no jobs. Just reading the papers, there's no jobs for the kids.
Yeah.
That's what I fear.
But overall, you have a good life at home. You're happy with
Oh yeah,
family, and you're nice to each other.
Oh yeah, and it's a good quality of life here. It's really good. I mean, compared to I've lived in a few countries, and I can say that this is a relatively good, clean environment, relatively safe. The people are friendly, so it's good.
And you have a good wife looking after you.
Yeah, we look after each other.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do anything to annoy her or each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, when she tells me to do something and I forget, that's a sign of old age, I think. Yeah.
Sort of things that you forget, like putting out the rubbish. And...
Yeah, that's an important one. And not doing the cooking sometimes, She says, oh, do this. And I forget. And then it's all a rush. So.
So you have a bit of a row?
No.
No?
No, there's no rows. No rows.
Just a look.
There's a silent treatment sometimes.
Tell me, where do you sit when you watch television?
In my armchair.
In your armchair? You have a special armchair?
I do.
Yes.
And you have a special armchair?
Not really. Billie's got an injured back, so she needs support when she sits for a long time.
Right. And this is in your lounge room?
It's not really a lounge room, it's like a family room,
Family
kitchen room, open dining.
Well,
Right.
it used to be a lounge room, but currently we're living in Druin. We just moved from Adelaide,
Oh, I see.
so we're rearranging things.
Right. Why did you move?
We didn't like suburbia that much.
Yeah.
We had some problems with her family and so on. And Billie always had a hankering to move back to the country. She was born at Traralgon, so we moved there.
You're a country girl at heart.
Absolutely.
Is it better than city?
I can sleep.
And you, Alex? Are you happy in the country?
Yes, I am. I'm not a country boy by nature or birth, but I like the friendly atmosphere of the town.
Yeah.
It's only a small town, 4,200 people.
4,202.
Yes, yes,
Now, I detect an accent.
yes. I'm Hungarian.
You're Hungarian, like me.
Yes,
Yes.
but I was born in Yugoslavia.
Oh, were you? And how old were you when you left there?
8. We escaped over the border into Italy, spent 5 years in a refugee camp in Italy, then United States, and finally Australia.
With your family, all the way?
Well, the family was scattered, but we eventually reintegrated here in Australia, all except one sister who don't know where she is.
You don't know where she is?
No.
When did you lose track of her?
53.
Right.
So she migrated to Canada, rode for a while, and then later stopped, and we haven't been able to trace her.
He's tried to trace
Yes, yeah. Do you think she wanted to disappear?
Possibly. She was an indifferent writer, wasn't very bright scholastically due to circumstances, and maybe I think she just found somebody who got married and forgot to write.
Yeah. And the rest of your family?
Well, they're here in Melbourne. Mum and Dad died some 25 years ago, 20 years ago. And, well, Billie's my family basically, as well as brother and sisters. Brothers and sisters.
Yes. How did you meet Billie?
At the
Ice
ice skating
skating.
rink.
I was still in school, and he was just going through a divorce. So that's how we met. I fell over and he picked me up.
And that was it?
Yes. And
A literal pickup.
It was.
Well, Mum always told me never have anything to do with a fallen woman, but well,
You made an exception in Billie's
yes,
case.
it worked out well. After we got together, we saw each other every day for about 2.5 years. Then Billie went on holiday. When she came back, we just started seeing each other again, and we moved in, got married. Usual thing.
The usual thing.
Yeah.
Now, Billie was saying that you were at that stage going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Had you been married long?
No, only about 15 months.
Uh-huh.
I think both my ex-wife and I were a pair of children playing at being married rather than actual adults.
Uh-huh.
Although I was in my late 20s, but I really was immature. I wasn't ready for it.
And Billie?
As I said, I was a teenager when I
Yes.
met Alex,
Yeah.
and I was going out with another fellow at the time, and we parted amicably.
You've been together basically all your adult life.
1971.
Yeah. What do you like about Alex?
He doesn't get in my way.
He doesn't get in your way.
Nope. You know how some people say, oh, I let my wife do this or I let my wife do that? There's no let in our family. If you want to do it and it doesn't bother anybody else and it doesn't bother each other, do it. He doesn't get in my way. If I decide on the spur of the moment, gee, I'd really like to go to Darwin for a sushi, I'll go to Darwin for a sushi. Or if I feel like, when we were in Adelaide, if I felt like driving down to Melbourne or flying down to Melbourne to see a family member, I'd do it. If he wants to find me, all he has to do is use his mobile phone to contact my mobile phone, and we know where each other is. So he's never got in my way.
And obviously you find something in this relationship too, from the very beginning.
Billie doesn't look anything like my mum, but she's got the same personality. She is a strong woman, and she knows her own mind, doesn't look to me for leadership, but she's a companion. So we each have our own separate lives, but together we also form a good partnership. We enjoy most things together, dining out, driving.
Are you going to dine out tonight?
No, we're going home.
Who cooks?
Me, I'm
Billie.
a chef.
You're a chef, professionally.
Yes?
And are you working as a chef
Not at
now?
the moment, no. About 6 weeks ago, our son died. And so I've decided to take some time off, and we're going to buy a property, and we'd like to run some beef cattle and just take some time out, because we nursed Nicholas for many, many years.
He was ill?
Very, very ill
most
for
of
a
his
long
life.
time.
Most of his life?
Mhm.
Yes. What was the illness?
It was a genetic disease called dysmorphia, and it affected his internal organs. That's only part of it, and mostly his lungs it affected, and he died from lung complications.
How old was he?
He was 8, just turned 8.
The left hemisphere of his brain had been underdeveloped and severely damaged by epilepsy, 3 different forms. So he had no logic, he never spoke. He only stood up when he was a year old, then he regressed. But he was able to communicate with facial expressions, body movements. He's pretty well adjusted for people, but you couldn't hold a philosophical discussion with him. It was on an emotional level.
I suspected there was something wrong with him when he was about 8 months old.
Yeah.
The doctor said he was just a slow, happy baby because he was very slow to do things. And then they sort of started checking things out when he was about 14 months old, and by the time he was 18 months old, they came up with what they thought it might be, but it wasn't until about 2 years later that they actually did find out exactly what it was. It took them a long time to find out what it was.
That would
It's
have been
very rare.
That would have been the hardest part for you, I suspect.
Finding out that he was handicapped.
And that process, that whole process.
Oh, diabolical.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. It was, it was awful.
Not that it got any better after that, but that would have been the worst.
He just got progressively worse.
Yeah.
He just slowly went downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he was a happy little kid, and
Yeah.
I'm glad we knew him. I mean, I wouldn't swap that for anything, but he was very ill, which made planning ahead very difficult. Yeah.
Did you know that he was going to die?
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't know
It was
that.
a matter of time.
Yeah.
Normally, children with his disability die within the first 6 days.
Really?
Yes.
Or if they manage to
do
live.
manage to survive, the oldest known survivor was 4 years old.
Yeah.
Nicholas made it to
So
8.
Nicholas made it to 8.
So he's something of a
He was exceptionally well looked after. He
Yes,
was
he wrote the
incredibly
book.
well looked
Yeah,
after.
yeah,
So we knew the end was inevitable, we just didn't know when.
yeah. How did you prepare for it?
We lived each day
Yeah.
as if there's not going to be a tomorrow, and we never wanted to have the opportunity to say, if only.
So there's no if onlys.
We
None
had
at all.
millions of what ifs. What if this hadn't happened? What if he had been a normal child and so on? But no
No
regrets.
if onlys.
Yeah, yeah.
That was mandatory. No if onlys.
How did? Well, I can understand that, but how did you actually achieve that? How did?
We
Give me an
took-
example.
Well, we took the joy in little advancements that he made.
Mhm.
We took joy from his company, from his very presence. He was a very special boy.